Hey, what's up, world? It's kind of cold out here. Just going to talk to you about a topic that's not particularly pertaining to Moorish Americans, but just something that affects pretty much everyone in general, especially people living in America, the United States. We're gonna talk about shootings, man, mass killings, MLK Ultra. Just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, there was a shooting in Kentucky at a high school, right? And this stuff is becoming commonplace. Like, you know, it happens every year. And where it used to be just shocking and crazy, starting to get used to this crazy mess, right? Now, I'm not just gonna talk about school shootings. Just gonna talk about mass killings in general. The Las Vegas shooter that was just last year. Guy just goes up in the hotel room, starts picking off people at a concert. And if you never thought that stuff was peculiar, you will after you watch this. And we're gonna get into the real origin behind that stuff, where it's coming from, and why these aren't just coincidences. People didn't just start snapping and going off and shooting people, you know? It's not what is being reported all the time in the news, and there's way more to it than that. And the real thing behind it, this MLK Ultra stuff, is like real sinister, and it's crazy, man. Now, first off, I'll just talk with the recent shooting in Kentucky, right? They're saying that it was a 15-year-old boy. He just goes off, starts shooting people, picking people off in the school, kills 2 of them, injures a whole bunch of others. And a lot of times, or like at least when the shootings first started happening on a regular basis, the people that were doing this stuff in the schools, these were like loners. These were people who were awkward. You know, they weren't like able to like hold a conversation like I'm doing with you right now. They, you know, people who just were awkward. They couldn't really interact with the public, right? And so it kind of made sense for people, because they're thinking, okay, they were getting picked on and bullied, right? And they want to get back, you know. But even those didn't really make sense, because they were just getting all types of people, kids, students, teachers, people that had nothing to do with whatever vendetta they had, right? But this thing that just happened in Kentucky, they were saying it's a boy, 15-year-old boy, who, you know, some people described him as quiet, you know, he was cool, he made music. Some people were saying he's the type who was always cracking jokes and having fun, right? So, like, for the most part, sounds like he was a regular person, you know? I'm not always making jokes all the time. Sometimes it could be the life of the party. Sometimes it could be off doing my own thing, right? So it sounds like he was a regular person who just snapped for no reason and just went around killing people, right? This isn't weird, though. A lot of the shootings are like this. You know, the people aren't always, you know, loners. They don't even always have a reason, or even like if you're getting bullied, that's not a real reason to go and kill people. That's not, you know. I'm not a psychological expert, but I'm just being real. That's not a reason to go and shoot people. There's something else going on here. So a few years back, when I was in the 90s, and I was still a kid, I was in school, and I remember there was a shooting in Arkansas, right? It was in a place called Jonesboro. I used to live in Memphis, Tennessee, so that's like right on the border of Arkansas and Mississippi, right? And so it's kind of hit close to home, because I was still a kid. And there was some little boys that went to their school and just started picking people off. And it wasn't even just that. I'll give you some of the details. I'm trying to remember this stuff, because it was a long time ago. But in Jonesboro, Arkansas, right, like an 11 and 12-year-old boy, something around that age, so they were like still in elementary school, man. They get a bunch of their their daddy's weapons and go to the school and just start picking people off. And they didn't just pick people off, they had like pipe bombs or smoke bombs or something. So they go in there with like fatigues on, camouflage, and like military style, start, you know, discombobulating the people. They put in distractions, bombs and stuff to throw people off and just start methodically killing people. Then they go and hide in the bushes and start picking people off as they run out to school. You know, students and teachers. So people are getting shot and killed. All right. Now, you know, that right there should have just sent off like alarms for everyone, you know? That should have like really been the end of this whole thing, because that right there should have set off alarms. There should have been discussions about this. It should have been a big deal, because it makes no sense for them to even have that type of resolve in a situation like that, you know? But we'll get to that and we'll talk about why. Wow. Something extremely weird just happened. So I'm out at this park. I'm on the observatory deck, and I'm talking about MLK Ultra, the shootings, school shootings, all the mass shootings, right? And specifically talking about the Jonesboro, Arkansas case and how weird it was, and you know, for these children to just snap, turn into trained killers, and how, you know, it's making sense of how weird it was, making the connection of why that was not just a coincidence, just something that just happened. And what I was saying made, I guess, too much sense, because the camera just on my phone just stopped recording. I look, I'm about to press record, and the phone just shuts down. Now, before I started doing this, the phone was on like 75-80% battery, and I've only been recording for like maybe 4 or 5 minutes. So I try to cut the phone back on. Phone starts up, so I walk back to where I was and I'm about to record. The phone cuts off. I try to cut it on again, it cut right back off. I'm like, okay, forget this. I quit. I'm heading to the car. The phone's actually starting to come up. By the time I get to the car, the phone starts and it's on 10%, the battery, right? There's no way in hell. It's like that. I mean, when it first happened, I'm like, they zapped my phone. They zapped the damn phone.
And we already know the technology to do that is you know, there, because there right now Apple has a lawsuit against them for slowing down the older iPhones so that you can upgrade to the newer ones. So it's like, whoa.
You know, I don't want to get all conspiracy, man, on y'all, but I'm just being serious. Like, there's no way. I mean, I'm not stupid. Some people just blow things off as a coincidence and that's it. But no coincidence. My battery didn't go from 75-80% to 10% from recording a 4-5 minute video. All right. So that was weird. But, and I have a message to like people, you know, I guess to anyone who's in control of this stuff, whose job is to, you know, control these programs and stuff like MLK Ultra or whatever. If y'all want me to shut up, just, you don't have to threaten me. You don't have to do anything. Just give me some money. I'm serious. I'll walk away from all this stuff. Won't put anything out there. Won't be trying to, you know, help get the information out, wake people up, whatever. Hey, real easy. Money. Money would shut it all up. Y'all know you printing up money every day. Fiats, I'll take it. Money, and you know, it's cool. You don't have to do anything, man. It's easy for you to just throw me some money, because I guess the information is so powerful. You gotta zap the phone, man, and cut it off. Like, oh no, nobody's talking about Jonesboro. Nobody's talking about how crazy it is for some little boys who are like in elementary school to just all of a sudden become stone cold assassins. And I didn't even get to the meat of it. There's a movie called American Ultra. You need to check that out. I'm not gonna put any video. I wanted to put some video scenes in here to hit on what I was saying from the movie, but I don't want this to get blocked. So check out the movie American Ultra. I'll just give you a quick synopsis. There's a guy in there, regular guy. He's shy. He's like Meek, you know. So he's like Meek Mills, man. This guy's real, you know, calm and quiet and just pretty much keeps to himself. I think he had a job, so he just like goes to his job at the Quick Mart, Quickie Mart, and that's it. He don't really bother people. He looks like a guy and acts like somebody who wouldn't even really stand up for himself if he's confronted. One day, now this guy was actually, unknown to him, part of a program called MLK Ultra, where he was a trained assassin. He was trained in hand-to-hand combat and weapons training. So he was a killing machine. Okay? I don't remember all the details of the movie. It was a while back when I saw it. But he had maybe been kidnapped or something like that. And he had been trained underground and then put back into regular society. So, in the movie, I think he's at work at the damn Quick Mart, and he gets a phone call from one of his handlers, because they're about to shut the program down, and I guess his handler's like, I'm going to activate him. So he gets a call, the handler says a phrase, the phrase activates him, and he goes into killing mode, and he kills everybody, and he's unstoppable. Okay, and it's just a movie. It's a Hollywood movie. That concept is so crazy. Some genius writer just made this up out of nowhere. No, okay, this program is real, and I'll show you why. Now back to Jonesboro. 2 regular kids, play video games, play sports, do things that boys do. All of a sudden, just snap one day, they go get their daddy's guns and weapons, not just guns, smoke bombs and pipe bombs and stuff, bring them to the school, start rolling them out like trained assassins, causing disarray. But they're calm. Everyone else is shook up, start shooting and killing. People are running out to school. They already are in their spots, their sniper spots. They're in their bushes, and they're picking people off like stone cold killers. That's weird. That's not normal. That's MLK Ultra, man. Now, there was also, the shooting in Kentucky that just happened recently. This kid is like 15. People were describing him as, he's cool. He keeps to himself. He does music. Okay. He's cool. He had some other people there. He has friends. He's always cracking jokes. He's always smiling and laughing. Okay. One day he just goes to school and starts killing people, and just, heartlessly, coldly, just cold-hearted, boom, taking people out, shooting people and killing 2 people. Okay? That's not normal, man. That's MLK Ultra. All you have to do is activate them. The activation, who knows where it could come from? It could come from the video games that you're playing. It could be the TV shows. It could just be something that only flashes on your screen so that only you see it. You guys ever hear a ringing sound? Coming from your electronics, or just while you're out walking around, your ears are ringing. Sonic weapons that you can't even hear. All right? Or that you can't see, and that everybody can't hear. Maybe only you hearing it, or only a few people are hearing it. I'm telling you, this stuff is real. The Las Vegas shooting. You got this guy, white dude. I'm sure he wasn't perfect. He might have been in debt or something, might have been bankrupt or something like that, but he was making good money somehow. He had good money, nice house, got a little Filipino girlfriend or whatever she was. He's doing it, right? He's got friends, family. He's got something to live for. He just goes into the Las Vegas hotel, has all these weapons and, machine guns, assault rifles, right? Goes in there and starts picking people off at the concert. No logical reasoning behind this. He has no real vendetta or beef with these people, right? As far as we know, there's no reason for him to be killing these seemingly random people. What was that? MLK Ultra. There's people walking around in society, okay, who have been at some point in their life, or maybe continuously throughout their life, they have missing time where they're being taken and put through their training or put through torture and things that keep them conditioned and ready for whenever they get activated. They're basically a bunch of people walking around that are sleeper cells. Okay? It's really easy for this to happen if you served in the military. But like the little boys in Jonesboro didn't serve in the military. You know, they had families. They were regular kids who were playing and doing all this stuff. It makes no sense for that to happen, right? At some point in time, there was some missing time in life. For all we know, their parents could have been part of MLK Ultra too, and their parents trained them. So we have no idea what's going on. But this is a very real thing, and it was called MLK Ultra. Who knows what it's called now? Because the fact that they're making movies and putting that phrase in there, lets you know that, okay, because the government, they always change the names of their programs and stuff. And when I say government, I'm not talking about, the police officer, the fireman, your mayor and all this stuff. I'm not even talking about people who work in Congress and regular people that work in the government, because the government is supposed to be made up of the people, right? There's a secret government. There's people whose whole agenda is to hold humanity down, to depopulate, and to do a whole bunch of other heinous stuff. And they use the government. They make entire funds and money that's coming in through the taxes and stuff that you pay disappear to finance black programs, secret programs with secret technology and things like this that you don't know about. I mean, for all we know, there could have been somebody at that concert in Las Vegas who did something that pissed these people who control the programs off. And so they activated one of their sleeper cells to kill them. And they go on and kill a bunch of these people too, right? We don't know why it's going on, but it's real. And I was just putting this out there to put a different perspective on it. I know there's a lot of conspiracies going around, and some people are up on this. Their eyes are awakened. But I'm letting you know, these aren't just things that you could put in the regular psychological profiles where you could be like, well, he's a lone wolf, and so he's getting picked on, and that's why he went and started killing people. It's nothing like that. These are regular people from the outside observer. If you look at their life, these are regular people who are just all of a sudden becoming trained killers, stone cold assassins, killing with no remorse and with accuracy, able to shoot from stories up, top of a hotel, able to snipe, take people out. Did this guy, was he even in the military? Was he a sniper? Did he go to the gun range on a regular basis? I mean, where does this come from? And it's not normal, People, you need to be aware of what's going on around you. I mean, in the United States, in America, hundreds of thousands of children, go missing every year. That's a lot. I mean, it's ridiculous. And there's human trafficking that goes on where some of these children are pushed into prostitution and stuff, where they're servicing these pedophiles. They have little safe havens that they can go to all over the country where they can get children. Some of these children are being put into these programs where they're doing who knows what with them mentally, and then they're getting reinserted back into society later on. There's a lot going on out here, and I just wanted to throw that out there. For the most part, when you see this stuff, the shooters are white, for some reason. And it's I don't know, maybe on some level they're seeing and they're like, okay, these people are more lethal. They're more apt towards violence. And I could see that if you look at the history of the United States. You had entire communities showing up to lynchings, where they're torturing, burning black people alive, and they, I'm not, demonizing, Caucasians or whatever, but we're just being real about it because it can't be denied, because people took selfies, man. Back then, before we even had smartphones and all this stuff, they took selfies and put them on postcards where you have the whole community showing up to kill a black child, a black woman, black man, burned alive. And you have white men, women, and children standing there smiling. And they had parties. They had picnics where they, would show up to torture these people and kill them, and then they fight over, little mementos, like they would castrate the men and the women, cut them, mutilate them, and fight over the parts. Who's gonna get the penis? Who's gonna get the ear? And that's just disgusting. It's crazy. And so if you think about that, none of those people went to prison. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe that element of society is more apt, more prone towards violence. Who knows? But I think they can do this to anyone they want. A few years ago, there was a dude who was like Korean or something. And I think he went to like University of Virginia or something like that. And he just goes into the school and starts shooting people. Right? And they show these, sometimes they come out with these manifestos that this person wrote, about why they're doing it. And they just happen to pose with photos with guns or something like that. And it's like, what makes a person do this? This is not normal behavior. And a lot of times these guys, even like that Korean dude, they served in the military. And military access makes it even easier for this to be done. Because, when you go into the military, your body becomes the property of the U.S. government. And, they can give you whatever shots they want. And there's nothing you can do if you have missing time. You wouldn't even know. You probably wouldn't even remember. So guys come out from the military and you don't know who's a sleeper cell or who isn't, And this actually happens a lot. All of the cases aren't people having military background, but that gives even easier access. Okay? And this is real and it's being done. They actually show this stuff in movies, because I think there's a universal law to this where I think you have to reveal what you're doing on some aspect and level. And since it's being done in movies and everybody thinks all the movies are just make-believe, people just see it. They've been made aware of what's going on. So now it's up to you, And so they put that out there, as a way to say, oh, well, we put it out there, it's out there now. You know about it and we're going to do it. And, that's it. They can do whatever they want. So, you have a lot going on. There's sometimes like where you'll see like some lone wolf, like there was a few cases, I think, where you had two different guys who were black and they went and killed a cop. Each of them like went and killed a cop. I think like one dude might have killed two cops and he just happened to have a picture of himself standing there with a dashiki with his fist in the air, And it's crazy because like, you look at both of those dudes, they both served in the military, okay? And it makes no sense for them to just go off on their own and act like they're starting some revolution or something. Because, like, I think situations like that are being used to help cause confusion. All of these killings that are going on, we don't know the meaning behind them. We don't know the true motive behind it. It's just like, not to get off the subject, but it's just like when wars happen, on the surface, they're telling you, hey, we have to go into Libya to free those people. But, and the media propagates that. And most people propagate the main story that you're told, which is total BS. And in reality, Libya was stable. They had a president, Gaddafi, who's been the president for years and who actually had that country where they didn't have insurgents. They didn't have any issues from other people. He was dealing with it. They had it set up where like every married couple's first home was free. They get their homes paid for by the state. Hey, y'all got it, because we want to have healthy, stable homes. We want married couples raising their children. We want stability. We want a good future. We want prosperity. So they just did that, right? As a gift to you for being a Libyan. They had free healthcare. For real, not like, because there are some countries where the healthcare is free. Like I've lived in South America before, and the healthcare there was free, but it wasn't as good as the healthcare that you pay for. No, in that country, they have healthcare just free, like it should be here in America. We could afford to do it, especially if these secret governments, the secret entities within the government could just make $1 trillion just disappear like that. There's no reason why healthcare shouldn't be free for everyone. But that's off the subject. But back to like what was going on in Libya. Gaddafi had that country locked tight. They were doing good. They owned their oil. So in most countries, especially in places like Africa, most of those nations don't own their resources. They're just getting sucked dry. Most of the money and the wealth is going to Europe somewhere. You know, it's going to Belgium and Sweden and all these other places, right? Germany, okay? So that was a problem. Libya had wealth and they were, using it for themselves, for their own nation, for their own good. The oil and stuff was owned by the state. And so the people had a good quality of life. And the United States started their own problem. They financed these, I was about to say companies. They financed these groups, these organizations like Al-Qaeda and now ISIS. They financed them. They put them in there to create whatever mischief they want to do. And then they come in to save the day, to get rid of the insurgents. And they take out whoever's in power. So that's what they did with Gaddafi. They went in, they created some fake rebellion, acting like the Libyans wanted him out when the Libyans were living good and had been living good under him for decades. All of a sudden, it's a problem. He had gotten nominated for a Peace Prize the same year or the year before they started this whole mess to take him out, to assassinate him. So they went into that country and took him out. And they told you that they were saving Libyans. And then you look at Libya now and it's a mess. You saw this stuff on the news last year where they're saying all these black Africans were being sold into slavery in Libya. Something that never would have happened under Gaddafi. Gaddafi was pro-black. He loved, Africans, and he was about, he was about helping the other African countries be stable and be independent of colonialism. So all of a sudden now it's a freaking mess. All right. So you can't believe the public narrative. That's what I'm telling. That's why I got off the subject. You can't believe what the media is telling you. Now back to what I was talking about. On 2 occasions, there were 2 black men who, within months or weeks of each other, went around killing. They didn't even kill a lot of people. They killed 1 or 2 cops, a piece. And one of them has these pro-black pictures and, probably had a manifesto and all this stuff too. And both of them were in the military, right? So these were sleeper cells who were activated to go and kill some cops. And this was pushed through the media. These images were shown for a purpose. And I'm going to tell you why. And one of the reasons, well, I already knew this was what the purpose for, but I got reminded of this a few days ago because I saw this one dude. This is a white guy who makes videos talking about all types of stuff, like conspiracy type stuff. He talks about everything from Bigfoot to MLK Ultra to, the CERN, the Mandela effect, all that stuff. And so, dude's cool. He's like a great storyteller. I don't know if all the stories he's telling are true, but he's a great storyteller. And so I listened to a few of his videos. I'm like, cool. Then there's one video that comes up that completely shifted everything where I was like, okay, I don't know about this dude. But anyway, the guy's got a video where he's going on about, well, you got these black people who are going around and they just want to kill all white people, And he's talking about how you got some that's out here shooting and killing white people for no reason. And then he's talking about how he's seen the videos where the other black people are talking about kill white people. White people are evil. And so he's saying this he's this guy who's saying this, he's locked and loaded, and that's why I really wanted to hit on this. Those killings where you had the black cells who are activated, that was done to hype people like him up. Okay? Because there's a lot of white people out here who are survivalists. Okay? Not everybody, but there's some out here, plenty of them who are survivalists, and they are locked and loaded. Matter of fact, if you look at the country, there's way more white people than anyone else with guns, multiple guns, right? The vast majority of the guns, and especially bombs and tactical weapons, are in the hands of them. And this is who the secret government really wants to take out. That's why, you see a lot of killings. Some of the killings are just done just to try to push through legislation to ban weapons. They can't ban guns, so they're trying to ban assault rifles, Sometimes they're doing heinous stuff like that just to ban weapons, right? The innocent people die for that. And so they really want to hype those people up because you have a lot of white people who are survivalists. They're, about getting ready, being prepared for anything, being prepared for, having contingency plans in place for when the government fails. They don't trust the government. They, and they're about, being ready to fight the government if they have to, or anyone who gets in their way. And so, yeah, and they're not just out here just talking, they're training, okay? They, may go out in the woods every now and then, practice what they need to do to survive. They do hand-to-hand combat and try to stay up on their weapons training. So they're shooting accurate and stuff like that. And also just having plans in place so that they're not left out here, keeping food up and stuff like that for when the grid fails. And so, and some of these people are racist. Let's just be real. But so, you have a lot of people out here, and then some are organized. They have militia groups. So you have several militia. Every state has numerous militia groups. So I'm telling you, this stuff is not, crazy. And there's some black people in these militia groups. And I'm telling you, if you're black and you're in a group with a bunch of white people, remember, just a few decades ago, whole entire towns were turning up, to see your ancestors getting killed. And none of them went to prison, not a single one. Even the Emmett Till case where that got blasted for the whole world to see, they still said not guilty. Okay, so we don't know who's who. We don't know who's a friend or who's a foe. We have no idea. But the reality of that situation is that the government wants to get guns from those people because if they do decide to try to move in, they've got a whole bunch of white militia groups who are prepared and who will fight and who may even be able to take over. So they're trying to take them out. And one of the things they want to do is get them hyped up on this race war mess. There is no race war. If there was a race war, I don't like saying this, but it's true. If there was a race war, man, black people, and I don't even like saying black people because I'm a Moorish American, black people would be massacred. Because these militia groups are all over the place and they're actually preparing and they're locked and loaded. They're trained and they've been doing this and they're preparing. And the black people over here are like, living regular lives. They're not, even the criminal element and stuff like that is everyone has criminal elements. Everyone has criminals and people who, have guns illegally and stuff. Well, they have guns illegally and legally, and they're more prepared. And they're the ones who are like really thinking this. And let me just be honest about stuff like being a Moorish American, being a part of this community and not being an outsider. I know my people aren't ready. You can be an outsider and see a few videos where these big loudmouths are talking about white people are evil. We need to kill them all and think that black people are prepared. But I'm telling you, you don't know what you're talking about. Those are just videos that's just talking hype. They're not ready. They're not. And, as an outsider, you wouldn't notice. Because I can go into the hood. I can go into South Central. I can go into whatever bad neighborhood, wherever, where it's only people that look like me and be straight and be good. You can't. So I know what I'm talking about. And so basically, this is just hype. They want to get them hyped on a race war because if they're thinking they have to fight us and they're doing this, they're getting caught up in something else that's not even real. And that's weakening them because their real threat is the government who's trying to take their guns away. And instead of them thinking, hey, we don't need to be focused on this whole race thing. Maybe we're all in this together. They're not even thinking on that level. Some people are just like, because they're already stuck on racism because they're the children or grandchildren of the people who was hanging black folks. So it's easy to get them hyped on a race war anyway, even if they think they're not racist. Dude, white people in the past were either acting like it didn't happen and looking the other way while the lynchings were going on, or they were participating in it. There may have been a few who were fighting it like this is wrong, stop it, but it was going on everywhere from the West Coast to the Midwest to the South to the East Coast, all up and down from New York to everywhere to California. These lynchings, killing all and burning down and, kicking black folks off their property, the black towns during segregation. It was horrible, man. So it's not hard to get those people hyped up on a race war, because there's still people alive who participated in that. I used to work with this guy named Earl, and he was telling me how he used to see black people hanging from trees, as he's from Alabama. And my granddad, rest in peace, he told me about that. He witnessed it. He saw it. And Earl was younger than my granddad. So, I know there's a lot of people walking around who participated in it, who witnessed it. There's a lot of stuff that they do not teach this in history class in school. You need to hear this from the perspective of someone like me, because there's plenty of other people talking about MLK Ultra and all this stuff. But you don't hear the complete real, because you're not hearing it really from people with my perspective and who can be completely real about history. Because there's a lot of people who will gloss over that whole period, for 50, 60, 70 years. Okay, 70 years of lynchings, man. Killing a bunch of innocent people because they're black, And none of those people got sentenced. All of those people, are able to go on and live their lives, have children, grandchildren. So just keeping this in perspective, And it's like, I don't care how smart you think you are. If you're on that, you're on that survivalist stuff, you got weapons. It's like I'm saying, a lot of these people are locked and loaded. That one guy who has those videos, and he's all Christian and everything. This dude has handguns. He's got his videos. He's got handguns. He's got assault rifles and all this stuff. And then talking about how he's raised military, so he's ready for whatever, right? And guys like this, are actually thinking this race war stuff is real, And even that same guy, he was talking about in the video how he saw the black people on the videos talking about white people are evil, we gotta kill them. So he's hearing these dumb fools with big mouths running, because these guys are angry about racism and they're venting their anger about stuff that they're not even prepared to deal with. Talking about, you're going to kill white people, they're evil. So you got some black people who's saying that stuff, and they're stupid. Okay? They're stupid. I get where they're coming from, the anger and stuff about racism, but they're not prepared to do any of that, and they're not doing it. They're not out killing people and then talking about it on video. They're just venting their anger, which they should shut the hell up. Okay? And because they're not doing it, and black people as a whole definitely aren't doing it. So they're out here venting this stuff. And then you have these government activated sleeper cells with military experience who just out the blue just go on lone wolf style, killing a few white people or killing a few cops. Of course, they get caught and conveniently killed so that there's no more witnesses. And guys like this who are out here locked and loaded are looking at that and connecting the dots like Columbo, thinking they're smart, thinking they're so smart. They're connecting the dots. They don't even think, ooh, that's a sleeper cell. That's an MLK Ultra. This is just trying to hype us up. They think they're smart. Then they go and hear these loudmouths, out here talking about, oh, kill Whitey. And they really think that black people are preparing for this shit. Come on, man. They're not preparing, man. That's not your enemy if you're on this mess. You know who your enemy is. Your enemy looks like you. All white people don't get along, and you know that. Your enemy is, like I said, looks just like you. And he's trying to take you out and keep you confused. And so, I feel like it was important to put that out there. And also put that perspective on it, because you're not going to hear it from anywhere else, People can't keep it real, And then if you're an outsider looking at the quote-unquote black community, you don't know what I know. Just because you watch some YouTube videos and you saw the news doesn't mean you know anything. If you know anything, the news is propaganda. It's BS. It's fake. They tell you what they want you to think. They tell you that Osama bin Laden in some cave somewhere orchestrated the hit on America, and they flew these planes and took down the World Trade Center. You know, if you know that's the truth, you're a fool. It's like, come on, man. It was an inside job. The government took those towers down. People who were contractors and stuff who were speaking about how there were bombs going off from the inside, and that was a controlled demolition instead of debris flying out everywhere. For the most part, it was a controlled demolition where things just imploded from the inside. They disappeared just for speaking out on that and having expertise on that topic. So we know that was an inside job, but the media, they ain't going to tell you that, are they? So now all of a sudden the media is right when they're showing you these lone wolf black, guys doing these killings. And then you see the loudmouths on YouTube running their mouth about stuff they aren't even prepared to do. And now all of a sudden you think you know something. It's like, dude, how come you don't see how obvious that is just to get you agitated? Okay? Just to get you guys agitated. So, yeah, I wanted to put that out there. And just don't trust any of this stuff you see. Somehow my phone got zapped, man. I'm not stupid. It didn't go from 80% to 10% over a 4-minute video. Beginning of the video, I'm talking about how crazy that Jonesboro situation is. That makes no sense for these little boys to go in there and start killing people just like cold-blooded, trained assassins, man. It made no sense. That had to be MLK Ultra, nothing else. There's no other possible reason for that. And this is real. It's very real. And I'm not saying to spend all your time looking this stuff up. Don't waste your time. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just putting it out there because it's true, man. This stuff is crazy. It's wild. And don't believe the hype, okay? Even if you think you're smart, you're just going further and further away from the truth. If you're looking at the media things and you're looking at the BS and you're thinking you figured something out, no. This was put out here to keep you confused. So that's really all I wanted to hit on. You guys have a great day. Peace. Share this video. Subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the YouTube. Check us out. Bookmark the website, moresinamerica.com. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, everything else. And also, just want to put this out there. Look, real Moors have nothing to do with you sovereign citizens. We have nothing to do with all that sovereignty mess, man. We have a prophet, Noble Drew Ali. He came to make us better U.S. citizens. He came to help us come under the constitutional fold. So if you know what I'm talking about, good. And if you don't worry about it. Hey, I just wanted to reiterate something, right? Okay, with these guys, with these black guys who went around killing people, killing police. Okay, these guys were obviously MK Ultra, right? This one guy who recently did it, Micah Xavier Johnson, he was ex-military, right? Who just 1 second went from having family and friends to just snapping and going and killing, some police officers and bystanders, right? It made no sense, especially the people that know him. Okay, this is MK Ultra. There's like 3 guys like that too who are black, and they killed officers and bystanders. And they claim since they killed him with a robot, who gets killed with a robot? They blew him up. They claim that he wanted to kill officers and express killing white people, especially white officers. He expressed anger for Black Lives Matters. Okay, so this is BS. Okay, and let me tell you why. This is a setup because they know that you guys think Black Lives Matters is a terrorist group. Black Lives Matters doesn't even represent the black community. Okay, because it's like, that's my community. I don't care about it. I want nothing to do with it. It's not a grassroots movement. It's founded by George Soros. That one guy who who's making the videos that I was talking about earlier. I thought it was cool until I heard him say that mess, and about the the race war. That let me know to stay away from him, because I heard him mention George Soros, right? And if you know about George Soros, like, this is a stupid meme, but it says if it was really a legitimate rights movement, it wouldn't be funded by this guy. This guy looks like he eats black babies for breakfast. Like, literally, look at him. He looks evil. He looks like he eats a black fetus every morning. Okay? Why does he give a damn about black rights? He doesn't. Why is Black Lives Matters funded by him? Why are the leaders of this group getting paid six figures? Why also are all the leaders of this group homosexuals? Like, what does that have to do with anything? How can it be a grassroots movement? Like, even that movement in and of itself, it's got another purpose, which I don't care about people's sexual whatever preference. They're adults, who cares? But it's got a whole nother purpose. It's using that energy of people looking at it that are of all races that don't think it's right, for black people to just be getting gunned down. They have their hands up in the air. They haven't committed any crimes. They're still being killed. So there's all types of people getting involved. And watch, in the future, this whole Black Lives Matter thing will be turned into a gay rights group. Okay, so it's got several purposes, and even that in and of itself is about depopulation, because the more people you have that are like this guy, the more, the less people you'll have starting families and raising children. But on the front end, it's being used to get you guys who are survivalists and militias and all this stuff, to get you amped up on this whole race war thing. And some of you guys who think you're smart, about this guy, and he financed Black Lives Matters, and you still are falling for the okie doke. You still think that, because you're not thinking. You just see a group of black people. It don't matter, they're holding up signs and stuff, and that they're just regular people. You're thinking they're like you. You're locked and loaded. You have, automatic rifles and handguns, and you're thinking they're like you. And you also know that there's a legitimate reason for black people to want retribution, which I'll get into in a second. But this stuff isn't even real. It's not a grassroots movement. It doesn't represent the people. Most black people have nothing to do with it. They don't think it's right for their people to be getting killed for no reason, but they don't have time to be out here protesting and stuff. Of course they believe their lives matters and they don't think it's right, but they don't have time for this mess. So you have these paid protesters who come out here, and they go to different cities, so they don't have anything else to do. They go organize a march, get it together, and then you have you have actual agitators who have been exposed several times all over the internet. There's videos of them being exposed, coming into these peaceful protests. You got people of all races there who think it's wrong. They don't like the fact that black people are literally living in fear, and they're out there with candles and holding signs, and then you have people who come amongst there who are agitators, who are like government agents or something, that are being exposed on video. Nobody knows who they are. They always cover their face. They come in with black backpacks on and throw stuff at the police. Sometimes they have Molotov cocktails so they can start fires. And what happens is, you see these images. They really love to show violence and things on fire, because then you see these images and you automatically think, ooh, it's time for the race war. So you're falling for the okie doke, because on one hand you have these guys who are all obviously MLK Ultra, and that's the thing that escapes me. Like, if you're so smart that you know about this stuff, how could you know you got MLK Ultra guys out here, okay, who claim to be, and they're all lone wolves. That's the thing. They all admit that they're lone wolves. They're acting on their own, and they're they're out there, been brainwashed. They hear the code word, they go into action. So that these guys are MLK Ultra. Then you have these protests that are financed by billionaires to make you push for a race war, okay? And you fall for the okie doke. There's subliminal programming in I get it. You're under attack. There's subliminal programming. You got these movies like this, Planet of the Apes, the last one, The War of the Planet of the Apes came out. And whether you saw the movie or not, okay, millions of people saw it. Millions. So it's in the collective consciousness. You got at the movie poster, you have a bunch of humans at the bottom and apes at the top. But you also have one ape that just happens to have on a blue vest, a stupid, ugly blue vest that the leader is paid six figures by some um, disgusting white billionaire. He's paid six figures to organize protests. And who wears a stupid blue vest? Who has a signature, shirt or something that they wear all the time? Because this guy's actually got this corny, stupid blue vest that he wears all the time. He's on video wearing it in interviews. It's like, who the hell does this, right? So this guy actually wears a blue vest all the time. And then they got a character in the movie who's wearing a blue vest, and they put him on the movie poster because this goes into the collective consciousness. And you guys, okay, see this big group, and since he's there, that solidifies it in your mind. Black Lives Matter terrorist group, we need to get up and ready. And it's called War for the Planet of the Apes, and you immediately equate that to this. And even though there's people of all races here, and most of the part they're holding signs, some people are holding candles, they may as well, instead of holding candles, they may as well be holding guns, weapons, once again, you got, these people obviously, see, this is the thing, these people aren't locked and loaded like you are. They're not preparing for a race war, okay? They don't have automatic rifles, and they're not training for the end and all this stuff, They don't have Faraday cages and all this stuff. They don't have hand-to-hand combat and all this stuff. They're definitely not packing, automatic rifles or handguns, okay? These are regular people with jobs and something to lose. They're just out here because somebody black that was innocent got killed, and they think it's wrong. And the black community is the easiest manipulated community, the easiest ones to manipulate. There's no way this could be a direct quote from George Soros. This is fake because he wouldn't come out and say what he's doing, but it's real. This is true. I'm going to bring down the United States by funding black hate groups. We'll put them into a mental trap and make them blame white people. The black community is the easiest to manipulate. That is true. They're the easiest to manipulate. You see, these people, and it might as well be this, okay? Because it's automatically tied together because of the whole, Black Lives Matter. You got the leader there, and you got all these people. They don't even represent the black community. They don't. But you don't care. You don't see that because there's bigotry in you, whether you realize it or not. You can say I'm not racist all you want, but you are, and you're bigoted because you see these people holding signs and megaphones and phones, little cell phones in their hand, and taking selfies and stuff, and they might as well be holding guns. They're holding signs. There's no way this old lady over here holding a cell phone, look like she's dancing, is packing, she probably don't have a gun, let alone an assault rifle. You got people holding signs and stuff. They might as well all be holding guns. You don't care. You see people laying down on the ground, the most passive thing you could possibly do. They might as well be holding guns because you're bigoted, man. And that's how you see things. These people saying hands up, don't shoot. The most passive thing you could possibly do. That's another thing about our community. We're just not wired like you guys. So yeah, hands up, don't shoot. Black men are an endangered species. They might as well be holding guns instead of signs. And they just want freedom. They just want freedom to be able to live without living in fear, man. School closings, violence. Come on, man. You see a protest, it doesn't matter what they're protesting. It's Black Lives Matters. It's a terrorist group. It's reason to fight. You can just look at these people and tell, man, maybe one of these people has a gun. If that. And then people of all races are coming together because they see through the BS. They see it's wrong. Okay. So it's not like it's all black people there. And if they want you to see the images because they know you're automatically going to go to this and you're going to go to race war. All right. The movie's called War for the Planet of the Apes. You see these black men. You're really scared of black men because you probably get your butt whooped a one-on-one fight against somebody like this. You see a guy with his fist in there, he might as well be holding a gun. Even though he's there, for some peaceful protests. These people are not organized. This guy has a bottle in his hand. Once again, you go into this image. Even if you haven't seen it, it's in the collective consciousness. And since you're bigoted, that's what you see. You know, you don't care about what's really going on. All right. And so, like, I mean, and you know that black people should be about retribution, you know, but we're not wired like you guys. Okay. We'll go to something that happened recently where this guy, just Dylan Roof, just goes up in the church, kills a bunch of innocent black Christians. They're worshiping God. What the heck, you know? Now, if this was the other way around, some black dude goes in the church, kills a bunch of white people, there's no way in hell he could get arrested and not get killed. Somebody would have sent a message just to take one for the team, like, okay, look, we're gonna let people know we're not going to be, you know, pushed around and frightened, and you know, we're gonna have sanctuary. You're not gonna make us feel like we're not safe anywhere. You know, there's no way you could be in here with somebody who's armed to the T and not get killed. But we just not wired like that. You know, it's not that black people are like physically weak. We're just not wired like that. There's no way in hell you guys would have taken that. You know, and the terrorism just inflicted on Christians. Some of you claim to be Christian. You know, why was the KKK setting crosses on fire on black people's lawns and they still remain Christians? We're not wired like you guys. Okay, you guys were torturing, burning black people alive. During segregation, you claimed you didn't want to live with the black people, so why were you going into black towns and burning them down? And I say you because the blood is on all of your hands. And I'm not just saying this. I know what I'm talking about. See, you can say you're not racist, and that's cool, you know, but you can't tell that mess to me because I know your history and I know my history. I know history, and I'm a man. You can't just get away with that mess. All right? Entire towns showed up to torture and kill black people, innocent black people, for no reason. And they brought their children. They brought, you know, the women. The women had a hand in it. No one is innocent. Okay? And because the main reason is because people either actively participated or they looked the other way. And if you're a true Christian, how can you look the other way when other Christian Americans who fought in every war, who work and pay taxes just like everyone else, are being killed for no reason? How can you look the other way, right? So you all have your hands dirty. Because I know some of you, you know, be like, well, we have nothing to do with that. My family didn't participate. I'm not racist. Whatever. You guys either participated or looked the other way. Not a single one of these devils went to prison for the stuff that the heinous acts that they committed. And like I said, we are not the ones that are the aggressors. You guys are pushing for race war, not us. You know, it wasn't the other way around. These weren't white men getting hung by whole entire towns of black people. You see the women there too. You know, the women are just as evil as the men. They're all involved. Okay, and it wasn't the other way around. And then on top of that, you guys were fighting over mementos from it. You were proud that you can't deny this because you guys put this on postcards. You saved the pictures. You were proud of them. So the evidence is here. You guys used to fight over the toes and the hands, fingers, noses, and especially the body parts, the penises. You castrated and mutilated. And I mean, it's just disgusting. We're not like that. You know, we're not the ones that have this penis envy where we're like, you know, all obsessed with that. You guys are the ones that do that, man. And you know that I'm telling the truth. And that's why I had to put this video out, to put it on a real perspective, because the rest of y'all can't even speak on this. You can't say the truth, you know. But it needs to be put out there, okay? Like, this is why when you see groups of black people, it doesn't matter, you know, that there's all races there trying to come together because they're tired of it, you know. Because some people are smart enough to know that black people are just the easiest to push around and to mess with. And that you guys are next. And so they're smart enough to say, hey, we need to help. This is wrong. You know, this racism doesn't stand for me. So if you're coming out against it, yes, you are a bigot. You know, and you see images like this and you're thinking, oh, retribution, they want payback. You can just look at these people and tell they're not preparing for any kind of race war at all. You are. You're the one that's locked and loaded. And this is why, in the back of your mind, I don't think about lynchings all the time. I'm doing good. but I know that it's real, and I know who participated in it. And I know that no one ever went down for it. And it's not like you guys are retroactively trying to prosecute the people that participated. Yeah, right. And then children. The children were there. I mean, it's not like this is a little black girl smiling, looking at a white man hanging from a tree for no reason, just innocent. 37-year-old black man hanging from a tree, blood trickling down his body. White girl, 7 years old, smiles. Come on. Florida lynched more black people per capita than, I'm not even going to click on that article, but more black people per capita than any other state. So this is a huge problem. This, of course, it's not taught in history. I mean, this would like literally like change the game if this was taught in history, because a lot of people would realize that like there's something wrong with our fellow Americans. Okay, something wrong with them, because we don't do this stuff. There was a crisis, man. Black people were living in terrorism as bad as they think it is now. Okay, with the you can still, like, a white person could just kill a black person and get away with it. And especially cops. So as bad as they think it is now, it was even worse. So black people have been living in fear for a long time. This has been war, because there were even instances where, okay, they deputized the whole town to come out and kill innocent black people, but also, okay, and like I said, the women, everybody participated. And also, sometimes they flew planes over the black towns to bomb their businesses and cripple them, to run them out of town physically, drop bombs on them, burn down their houses and businesses. Okay, so this was a serious, serious thing. And of course, it's not talked about in history, but it happened and it's real. Y'all are hanging little girls, little boys, you didn't care. That whole thing with Emmett Till, he's a young boy, like 14 or something, and some grown woman accused him of winking at her, whistling at her, and claims he touched her arm or something. And she was a coward, man. She waited until she's on her deathbed, I think last year, and she admitted to some biographer that he never even talked to her. It didn't even happen. She just made it up. She was probably like a pedophile or something. She probably wanted him, and he wasn't looking at her because, why would you in that time period? And she got him killed. The lynch mob came through and killed him. Everybody knew that these guys did it, and they still were not acquitted. I mean, they still were acquitted. They still didn't get convicted. And the only reason they even went to trial is because the family and the community came together, to put it on blast, to let the world know about it. That's the only reason. He was mutilated. He was tortured, and just, it was horrible. And even with the entire world watching, they're still like, hey, we have never convicted a white person of lynching a black person, and we're not going to. I don't care who you got watching. Okay? And so, I mean, we all know this is horrible. I mean, if you have a brain in your head, you know this is mess. And this is just one instance. All these other people, no sanctuary, no retribution. So yes, in the back of your mind, I don't think about this stuff all the time, but in the back of your mind, there's a reason for black people to want retribution. They're just not wired like that, man. They're out here holding signs saying hands up, because they're still living in fear. Even after all this mess they've been through, they're still living in fear. So you guys remember that. Don't try that race war mess around me. You're the agitators. You're the problem. You're the one pushing for it, and you guys are, your situation, your civilization is crumbling from within. It has nothing to do with us. We have fought in every war. We're in the armed services still. We're in every aspect of government, law enforcement, all of that. And that some of you, have black doctors or nurses, firemen, all these different aspects of service. We do everything to make this country the greatest place on earth, and we're heavily invested in this. And so it's crumbling because of infighting. And this whole thing with George Soros, and he's just an example. There's several people who are disgusting looking just like him who are financing this stuff. So your enemies, he wants you to be on the race war stuff because they want to take your guns. They know that you guys are locked and loaded and ready for whatever. They want to get them from you. Okay? All right? And you know that. And so your enemy looks just like you. And you're over here looking at us. So how can you be so smart that you know about the games that's being played and you're still going for it? Because you guys are still these same people, man, at the end of the day. You know, you had us living in fear, still kind of living in fear. Things are changing, you know, making progress, but it's not good enough. We need to be able to live in freedom, be able to work and contribute to society without being having no protections under the law. You know, these people are still working. They're still sending their children to school. They're still teaching and doing everything else that good people do. They're paying taxes, and they still, in the back of their mind, have to worry like, they get pulled over, or if their daughter or son gets pulled over, or would a cop just come up to the playground and just shoot their kid? Because these things have actually happened for no reason, just because they're black. And I know, a lot of you don't care about that. You don't care about the plight. That's fine. But you are barking up the wrong tree on that race war mess. And even if you are caught up on the race war mess, you guys are getting destroyed from within. So you can either go for the okie doke or you can wake the hell up. But you're not awake if you're looking in that direction. There's no reason for this guy selling cigarettes to get taken down and killed. Murdered for no reason. Just because he's a black man. People have been living in fear, and they're still in that same situation, dude. And it's once again, you guys just happen to be the perpetrators. And you guys also are the ones nowadays, instead of doing this, you just like all lives matter. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. You're the same people, man. The same people. All right? So, anyone with sense who's white would be out here like this, you know, because even though this movement is fake and it doesn't represent me, I get the sentiment that, hey, we need protections too, just like everyone else. We pay taxes, we finance this stuff. Why the hell are we getting treated like this? So that's all I wanted to say, man. And just that's it. Peace.